Good Friday morning, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us here. It's October 25th. I'm Caitlin Francis.
And I'm Caitlin Nuclo. You're watching Eyewitness News here on the Wax. A lot to talk about, but let's get right over to meteorologist Scott Haney for the details on that first alert forecast for this Friday.
Yeah, it's looking really good, but the bad news is the wind comes back tomorrow and Sunday. It's going to be a little bit breezy with gusts in excess of 30 miles an hour. So the National Weather Service did not issue a red flag warning today because of the lack of wind, but they might reissue it again for Saturday and Sunday.
Okay.
If they do, we'll let you know, but any brush fires that do develop could spread, so you want to be vigilant. If you see something, say something. No cigarette butts out the car window. You should be doing that on a regular day, but please don't do it now. Any spark could touch off these brush fires. The ground is just so dry. Satellite and radar, cloud free. As we widen out the shot, there is just nothing going on but the rent. We are taking a look at a Bo Derek visibility, perfect 10 this morning. Absolutely outstanding. Now the wind gust trend for tomorrow, although it relaxes today, it does come back with a vengeance. 25 to 30 miles an hour plus gusts tomorrow. So it is going to be a breezy day. And again, that breeze creates that threat for brush fires to spread quickly if they do develop. Forecasted highs today in the low 60s. Cooler, a calmer wind. Beautiful day of weather today and a beautiful weekend coming up. And I'll have details on that in the first alert forecast in about 5 minutes. In the meantime, Kate, we'll send it to you.
All right, thanks, Scott. Check on those roads now for you as you're heading out the door for your Friday morning commute. Live look outside in Hartford, Waterbury, Middletown, and Meriden. Great visibility, calm, clear conditions out there. We're not dealing with those wind gusts. I'm going to reiterate what Scott just mentioned. So it's a nice change from the last couple of mornings, last couple of days. No crashes, no major incidents. Typical delays that are building down through Fairfield County, though, at this time as we take a look at our drive times and speeds. 91 and 84 looking good. 95 southbound, New Haven to the George Washington Bridge, just about an 80-minute ride. So still actually moving along fairly well through that area. The Parkway backing up a little bit more substantially. Let's quick check at your Connecticut Chevy First Alert traffic report driven by your Connecticut Chevy dealers.
Well, right now, the Hawthorne fire is still burning. Overnight crews continued to monitor those flames, and there were some minor setbacks last night as well.
Channel 3 Eyewitness News reporter Olivia Schuler talking about those setbacks that crews experienced and their plan to help put the fire out going forward.
Tons of foot traffic right now here at base camp, and we're expecting when the sun comes all the way up, that's when all the action will start once again on Lamentation Mountain. Right now you can see this is what base camp looks like. There are tons of crews here from all across the state. The fire is still burning through areas of Lamentation Mountain. However, significant progress has been made. Thousands of gallons of water are being dumped on the mountain. Crews from the National Guard and Maine are using their helicopters along with UTVs and bulldozers to drop water at a high volume. The rotation of helicopters, similar to the ones you're seeing on your screen right now, will continue this morning. We're told about 120,000 gallons of water has been spread across 107 acres. Despite warnings and a no-fly zone over the area, crews ran into a major issue yesterday. Outside planes, ATVs, and drones flew over the mountain.
Our aircraft has to get grounded during that. Without those delays, we probably could have made a little better forward progress. So there's really no reason that any pilot should not have this information.
For those who live along Sea Green Drive, emergency leaders say they've been monitoring the area overnight and have a plan in place to contain much of the burning brush. Right now, there is no evacuation order in place. Today, the main goal is saturating the ground. That way, crews can ensure there are no flare-ups throughout the weekend. In Berlin, Olivia Schuler, Channel 3 Eyewitness News.
Okay, Olivia, thank you. Meanwhile, we're also getting updates this morning from officials in East Lyme, where crews had to spend about 2 hours putting out another brush fire there right off of 95. Several roads were closed last night. They've since reopened, so if you're heading through that area this morning, no problems for you.
Well, 7:05 this morning, the Weathersfield community is remembering fallen firefighter Robert Sharkovich Sr., who was killed earlier this week while fighting the Hawthorne fire in Berlin.
Yeah, Channel 3 Eyewitness News reporter Luke Hydash has more on the services for the fallen hero. We know they've now been scheduled, plus how Robert's sister is hoping that the community will remember him.
The wake has been scheduled for Sunday, the funeral on Monday. More details on that in just a second. First things first, let's show you how the Wethersfield Fire Department is honoring and memorializing Robert Sharkovich Sr. There's a small memorial outside the front of the fire department, and now there's bunting above the fire doors here. Wethersfield is in mourning. Robert Sharkovich Sr. is being remembered as a dedicated first responder who spent decades serving Connecticut. Sharkovich died earlier this week fighting a massive brush fire in Berlin when the UTV he was on rolled over. The wake has now been scheduled for this Sunday from 2 to 7 at the Farleaf Sullivan Funeral Parlor in Wethersfield. Funeral scheduled for Monday at 11 at the Cathedral of St. Joseph in Hartford. As the family waits to lay him to rest, they're relying on support from the community.
I think that's literally what's keeping us going, is that support from the community. Yes, we have a big tight-knit family and we all lean on each other, but everything in the past few days, it's overwhelming, but in a good way. Just want everybody to know what a great person Robert was, what a family man he was, from husband to brother, uncle, cousin, friend. He was always there for everybody.
To support the Sharkovich family, a GoFundMe has been set up. It's already raised close to $70,000. There's a link to donate to that on the WFSB app. In Old Wethersfield, Luke Hydash, Channel 3, Eyewitness News.
And stay with us today and throughout the weekend as the community prepares to say a final goodbye to Robert Sharkovich Sr. Of course, that happening on Monday, but we'll bring you updates. Any new information on that fire still burning here on the air and over on the WFSB app as well. An update for you this morning on a serious crash. Part of First Avenue in West Haven back open now this morning after a hit and run happened there last night.
Now we're taking a look at what our crews found right near Mix Avenue about 10 o'clock. Police say a driver hit someone riding a scooter. That scooter rider in the hospital this morning with serious injuries.
And we're told the driver took off on 95. Now we're just working to learn what kind of vehicle police are looking for this morning.
And state police are asking for your help this morning as they investigate a deadly motorcycle crash. We're told a man rode his motorcycle into the back of a car in front of him on Route 72 yesterday before crashing into a metal guardrail. The driver and passenger in that other vehicle were not hurt.
Well, this morning, Hartford police trying to find the suspect who shot a man on Enfield Street last night. Pinpoint News Tracker shows you exactly where this happened. It was right near St. Patrick's Cemetery. We'll try to get that map for you. We're told a 19-year-old is recovering this morning, is expected to be okay.
And this morning, we're learning about the man who was killed in an industrial accident in Berlin. 66-year-old David Dion died Tuesday while working at CWPM. He was hit by a large industrial payloader at the facility. The investigation into how this all happened still ongoing.
All right, Roger, Suzanne here live at the First Alert Desk, where we are tracking some breaking news in the Middle East. We now know Palestinian officials say families who have been struggling because of food shortages in Gaza were lined up outside of a bakery when an Israeli airstrike apparently tore through that area. We know at least 38 people were killed in those blasts. Some reports in Khan Yunis, where this attack happens, indicates that at least 10 of those victims were children. I want to take a look at your screen right now. This is footage that you see here in southern Lebanon, where we've learned that 3 journalists were killed apparently while they were sleeping in their beds overnight. U.S. leaders are now pushing both Israel and Hamas to come to a ceasefire agreement. At this point, though, no major progress has been made. Live at the First Alert Desk, I'm Roger, Suzanne, in Channel 3 Eyewitness News. Caitlin, I'll send it back to you.
Happening today, a Los Angeles County prosecutor will ask a judge for resentencing in the case of Eric and Lyle Menendez. The brothers were sentenced to life in prison without parole for the 1989 killings of their parents in Beverly Hills. A lot of attention on this case recently. The district attorney says he believes they've paid their debt to society after serving more than 30 years of that sentence. If the judge approves the resentencing, the brothers would be immediately eligible for parole. And this morning, the polling margins between Kamala Harris and Donald Trump are razor thin right now, just 11 days before the election.
Both candidates will be in Texas today. Vice President Harris will hold a rally in Houston after campaigning in Georgia last night with former President Barack Obama. Meanwhile, former President Trump gearing up for his own rally in Austin today after speaking to voters in Arizona about immigration last night.
The presidential hopefuls will then head to battleground Pennsylvania tomorrow, where the vice president will take the stage at a rally with former First Lady Michelle Obama.
All right, let's turn now to Campaign 2024, which we've been just talking about. Candidates for Connecticut's first congressional district race faced off in a debate at Trinity College in Hartford.
Congressman John Larson is being challenged by Republican Jim Griffin and Green Party candidate Mary Saunders. They debated about everything from reproductive rights to religion in schools.
I will continue in Congress to fight, as we have in the House, to make sure that we safeguard women's reproductive rights.
I believe that there should be more resources available for women facing an unexpected or an unwanted pregnancy, because if those resources were available, they may decide to carry the child to full term, whether to raise themselves.
I think we owe it to the children coming up that we give them a moral code to put back the school prayer, put back the 10 Commandments.
That debate was put on by the League of Women Voters in Greater Hartford.
And the time right now, 7:11 on your Friday morning. We have cooler temperatures out there, cooler than they have been. And even this afternoon, we're looking at temperatures a good 10 degrees lower than what we saw on our Thursday. Let's take a live look outside, though, in Hartford. Notice the sunrise comes in 4 minutes. Temperature, though, 39 degrees. The breeze there out of the east at 3. Those will be less today, those wind speeds, which is some good news for any of the fires that we do have out there. Notice in New London, 43 degrees. Beautiful shot there as well. Notice a lot more 30s out there today than we've seen in the past several nights, even mornings. 48 the warm spot in New Haven, 46 in Bridgeport, and 40 degrees up through Windsor Locks. Here's a look at those wind speeds out of the north, 5 to 10 miles per hour. They don't gust as high today, but those pick right back up for tomorrow and throughout the weekend. Temperatures climb today into those 60s. So if you're headed to the Friday night football game, Naugatuck at Woodland, notice the temperatures cool off very quickly. 7 p.m. we're down into the 50s. 9 p.m. we're in the 40s. Another chilly night ahead, but we have an even bigger cool down and then an even bigger warm up of the very latest and when you can expect all that coming up with your full First Alert forecast.